Thom Hartmann here on the best of the rest of science and green news. You need to know this. Without immediate global action on climate change, today's teenagers will be forced to live with the consequences of our inaction. The World Bank has issued their third report on climate change and says the global temperatures could rise as much as 4 degrees Celsius by the time today's teens hit their 80th birthday. This new report, called Turn Down the Heat, says that those 4 degrees would be on top of the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming that we've already locked into the atmosphere. Temperature increase that large would substantially impact poverty, food crops, water resources, ocean acidification, and sea level rise, all of which would make global conflict far more likely. At the rate we're burning fossil fuels, we're damning our young people to a future of hunger, strife, and war, and that's if we leave them a future at all. Rachel Kite, the World Bank Group Vice President and Special Envoy for Climate Change, said, "The new report makes crystal clear that we cannot continue down the current path of unchecked growing emissions." The World Bank is calling on governments to stop subsidizing the fossil fuels that are destroying our planet and our future. Developed nations like ours can put an end to tax breaks for big oil and big coal, and even put a price on their destruction by enacting a carbon tax. For countries that are still developing, the World Bank says that they should skip the investment in fossil fuels and move straight to clean energy. We now know that we have the technology to make it happen, but we still need the willpower. For the sake of ourselves, our young people, and our species, we need to do everything we can to protect our environment. We only have one planet to call home, and our kids shouldn't suffer because we refuse to act today. Your text messages could be ruining your back. According to a new study published in the journal Surgical Technology International, texting may be adding 60 pounds of pressure to your head, neck, and back. Study author said, quote, as the head tips forward, the forces seen by the neck surge to 27 pounds at 15 degrees, 40 pounds at 30 degrees, 49 pounds at 60 degrees. And all that weight is on top of the 10 to 12 pounds that our head already weighs. Just like previous studies on bad posture and body alliance, this new research shows that prolonged texting can cause damage and pain over time. Thankfully for all of us texters, researchers said that there are ways to prevent back issues from bending over our phones. They suggest taking a walk or doing exercises that stretch your back and being sure to sit and stand with proper posture. Our phones and devices have brought us great convenience and communication power, but we need to be sure we don't destroy our backs while appreciating this technology. You'd never know it by listening to our lawmakers, but a wide majority of Americans support regulations on power plants. In fact, according to a recent survey by Yale's Project on Climate Change Communications, 67% of Americans support such regulation, even if it means higher electric bills. So it's clear that the Republicans' promise to dismantle the EPA is more about paying back their big oil donors than it is about public opinion. In addition to supporting carbon regulation, the vast majority of those surveyed said they support tax rebates for solar power or fuel-efficient vehicles. 62% even agreed with requiring utility companies to get at least 1/5 of their energy from green sources. The vast majority of Americans support protecting our environment, even if they don't believe in climate change. Regardless of whether or not Americans believe in global warming, they don't doubt the value of clean air, clean water, and cheaper energy. So who is it that the climate-denying Republicans really represent? Harvard students are pushing hard for divestment. 7 students at the prestigious university have filed a lawsuit against the Harvard Corporation for refusing to eliminate financial holding in the fossil fuel industry. The group who filed suit is known as the Harvard Climate Justice Coalition, and their hope is that the school and trustees will face their legal obligation to stop causing harm by supporting the climate change and fossil fuel companies that are working against solutions, end quote. According to their lawsuit, Harvard's endowment includes $79 million worth of investments in gas, oil, and coal companies, and these students say that investment makes the university directly responsible for the destruction of our environment. Several other universities made the decision to divest after students called on their schools to support climate solutions, but so far, Harvard hasn't followed suit. Hopefully, this lawsuit will get the school's attention, and students will get the university to help in the fight to save our planet. And finally, if you fought with your siblings over Thanksgiving dinner, science says you're totally normal. According to Frank Soloway, author of Born to Rebel, Birth Order, Family Dynamics, and Creative Lives, going back home brings out the Darwinian toolkit. we developed to deal with our siblings during childhood. In an interview with Jessica Goldstein at the Think Progress blog, Mr. Sulloway explained that birth order and sibling competition shape our role within our families, and these character traits can stick with us for life. For instance, firstborn siblings tend to act more responsible and in charge, while younger siblings are often less aggressive but a little more wild. Although these differences may not be as pronounced in our day-to-day life, being back home in a family setting can cause us to revert to those childhood roles. So if your siblings drove you a little crazy over the holiday dinner, try to remember that it was science and not their secret goal to make your life miserable. And that's the way it is for the week of December 1st, 2014. I'm Thom Hartmann on Science and Green News.